I'd like to welcome back the listeners and viewers of Torah Anytime and Yibbaneh to the Kavanah Mitzvahs Foundation for our continuing series, A Word for the Table and a Mitzvah for Life. But before I go on, just a quick, beautiful announcement. After several years of amazing work, Yibbaneh now has its own center. Please check out the Yibbaneh website for more details how you can be part of this amazing event. Okay, here we go. In this week's Parsha, Vayeshev, the Torah mentions Paro having a birthday party. It's the only source in the Torah of a birthday party, of a birthday being celebrated. So here's the burning question. Does the fact that Paro celebrated his birthday mean that we should celebrate our birthdays? Or we should not celebrate our birthday since Paro celebrated his birthday? Let's take a look at the pasuk first of all. So it says in Perek Mem pasuk base, Vayhi b'yom hashlishi. It was on the third day, Yom Haledes es Paro, the Yom Haledet, the birthday of Paro, the Yas Mishta L'Kol Avadav, and he made a celebration, a feast for all his servants. Now, what's important to note is that it didn't need to mention it was his birthday. There's a bigger plot going on here, we know. It should have just said, Vayi b'yom hashlishi. It was on the third day, V'yas Paro Mishta. Paro made a feast for his servants, and then we had the butler and the wine steward and all that stuff. That's all you needed. You didn't need to mention Paro's birthday. So the Sefer Parsha Hamachkima quotes the Shus Beis Yisrael, and he says the following. He says, since the Torah bothered to stress that fact, that it was his birthday when he made the Mishta, that means birthdays are a positive practice. But doesn't that seem strange? Paro was an Ovdei Avodah Zarah. He was an idol worshiper. Why should we be taking a cue from an idol worshiper? Is that somewhere we should we can derive a positive practice? Yes. Listen to this precedent that he brings. In Sefer Shoftim, there was it developed to a point where Ehud, who was a heroic Jew, executed an assassination plot against Eglon, the Melech of Moab. Was he a good guy, Eglon? Not at all. He was an Ovdei Avodah, idol worshiper. Bad news, he was the enemy, and he got assassinated. Yet listen to what happened. When Ehud entered the room, he says, I have a message for you from Hashem. Now, the Melech was sitting on his throne, and he stood up because he heard that. You know what happens? That's why we stand up in a minyan when there's Kaddish, Kedusha. We stand for a Davar Kedusha. Where do we learn it from? The Melech of Moab, Eglon, Ovdei Avodah Zarah. So from this, the Shus Beis Yisrael says, same here, by Paro. It must be that it's not the character of the one who is doing something mentioned in the Torah, it's the quality of the practice. So the Torah is indeed saying, celebrate your birthday party, even though the Ovdei Avodah Zarah did that. Okay, not only that, now you should know not everyone learns this out, okay? But there were several amazingly great rabbis through the Doros that indeed celebrated their birthday. Amongst them, let me give you some of the list. The Chasam Sofer, the Chafetz Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai, all of these people made a big deal about their birthday. So now, that's a word for your table. But we should also I'm sure you want to know what is so special about a birthday that makes it something we should emulate. For that, we'll go into the Mitzvah for Life. So this week's Mitzvah for Life is birthday celebrations as an expression of Derech Eretz. Have you wondered about the practices that are explicit in the Torah, but they're not commandments. They're not in commandment form. What's their status? So the Eved HaMelech, in his introduction to his incredible Sefer, he explains that you'll see in the Gemara several places they'll take a pasuk from the Chumash and say, "Lamda Torah derech eretz." The Torah is teaching us derech eretz. Let's say proper conduct. In fact, for example, they from a pasuk in Mishlei they learned that there's a mitzvah to throw raw meat to a dog because dogs. It takes a long time for them to be fully satisfied, etc. So that's a practice. What's the status of a practice that's described in the Torah and called Derech Eretz? Says Rav Haminer, well, what book's it in? It's in the Torah, and that means that there's such a thing, let's say, as a mitzvah from the Torah, al pi derech eretz. So it's a mitzvah. It's actually a mitzvah, even though it's not part of the formal 613. It's called a mitzvah of derech eretz, proper practice. Okay, with that in mind, as we mentioned, the Parshas, the Sefer Parsha Hamachkima brought that birthdays can be learned out. Paro was practicing derech eretz by making a birthday, or at least he was an example of something that we call derech eretz. Now, why is a birthday a proper good? Well, not just a birthday. Of course, a birthday is a blessing, but why is celebrating a birthday considered derech eretz and a good thing to do? Here's something that very, very important to know. The Yerushalmi, the Gemara Yerushalmi in Rosh Hashanah, Chaf Gimel, I believe, it says the following: when it's a person's birthday, his mazel is sholate, meaning the mazel that he was born under is in control, which means there's positive spiritual influence taking place for the person whose birthday it is. That's a Yerushalmi. That's a very valid source, of course. The Yerushalmi says this. And it was taken so seriously. Listen to this. The Tiferes Yisrael, one of the greatest commentators on the Mishnayos, in his savah, in his will to his kids, he instructed, I guess, his wife, the mother, make sure when it's my son's birthday, or he told his sons, when it's your birthday, say Mazel Tov to the other people, to your siblings. Make sure to do that. There we go. This is a mitzvah for life. Why? Because giving a bracha is a profound mitzvah of chesed, number one. And it's a boomerang mitzvah. Who doesn't want to be involved with a boomerang mitzvah? What does that mean? We learn out in the Gemara and Tosfos that when you bless a Jew, it comes back to you. That's the boomerang. You bless a Jew, it comes back to you. A goy blesses a Jew, it comes back to him. Okay? So what a wonderful mitzvah for life is make sure to give brachas when you're the birthday boy or girl, okay, or adult. So and in fact, at our family, we have a tough policy. You know, everybody has a gift they're supposed to give the birthday person, and the birthday person doesn't get a gift until he gives a bracha. Okay? So that's number one that we can do mitzvah for life from birthdays, making them a good practice. The second is perhaps obvious. Hakaras hatov to Hashem. Zecher chazdei Hashem. You know, we didn't have to come into existence, right? That's number one. Gratitude that we came into existence. Number two, gratitude that we survived, that we were a viable child. And now how about this? For every year. So You should be gushing with gratitude on your birthday that you had yet another year of life and just the fact that you came into life at all. So that's number two. Number one, these are mitzvahs for life that we get from birthdays showing why it's derech eretz. Number one, we said, is give brachas because you have a mazel. Number two, how about some korsa tov, zecher hazdei Hashem, for being alive. And finally, last but not least, this is what the great rabbis I mentioned before, Hafetz Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai, the Hassam Sofer, they all made a big deal of their birthdays. They made this big deal. Why? Because this derech eretz of a birthday celebration has a lot going for it. Number one, we mentioned mazel means you can give a bracha. Number two, as we just said, zecher hazdei Hashem, there's a lot to thank Hashem for. And last but not least is heshbon nefesh. When you reach your birthday, it's a really good idea to emulate the greats who I mentioned to you celebrated their birthday, the Hassam Sofer, the Hafetz Chaim, the Ben Ish Chai. They took stock. Am I making my Creator happy? The one who brought me and gave me life, am I using the life the way it should? Heshbon nefesh. So we see there's a lot to take away from this. And in today's world, birthdays are often, we just focus on ourselves. Whereas if we approach it in this holy path of our forefathers, we can transform this practice into something very meaningful and very spiritual. Of course, make sure you have kavanah, conscious intention when it's your birthday, to do these mitzvahs, and then your connection with Hashem and your experience of the world to come will be completely different and magnified.